You ever notice how the moment you start doing too well, everything changes? Your boss gets colder, your mentor gets distant, your friends a little quieter. It's strange, right? You thought success would make people respect you more, but instead it feels like you've crossed an invisible line. And here's the truth no one tells you. Sometimes shining too bright is exactly what puts a target on your back. A young analyst joins a top investment firm in New York. He's smart, driven, and hungry to prove himself. Within weeks, he's outperforming everyone around him. His reports are sharper, faster, better. Clients love him, and senior leadership starts paying attention. At first, his manager praises him, tells him to keep going, says he's doing great. But slowly, something shifts. Meetings he used to be invited to, he's suddenly left out. Ideas he brings up get dismissed. Credit for his work starts quietly drifting upward. Then one day, after presenting a brilliant strategy, his manager pulls him aside and says in a calm voice, "You're doing good work, but you need to learn your place." In that moment, the message is clear. It's not his failure that's the problem. It's his success. This idea isn't new. In fact, it's one of the most powerful and uncomfortable lessons from Robert Greene's book, The 48 Laws of Power. Law number 1 says, never outshine the master. Greene explains it simply. Always make those above you feel comfortably superior. It sounds wrong at first, almost unfair, like you're being told to hold yourself back. But this law isn't about weakness, it's about understanding human nature at a deeper level. Most people believe success is purely about competence, work harder, be smarter, deliver better results, and everything will fall into place. But power doesn't work like that. Power is emotional. It's driven by ego, insecurity, pride, and fear. When you outshine someone above you, you don't just impress them, you threaten them. Your success forces them to question their own position, their own value, their own relevance. They start wondering if they're still needed, if they're still the best, if you're coming for their role. And once those thoughts settle in, even subconsciously, their behavior changes. They may not confront you directly, but they will start controlling the narrative, limiting your opportunities, and subtly pushing you out of the spotlight. Not because you failed, but because you made them feel replaceable. Understanding this changes how you move in the world. At work, it means being strategic, not silent. You don't hide your talent, you frame it differently. Instead of making your boss look replaceable, you make them look brilliant. You present your ideas as an extension of their leadership. You give credit upward even when you've done the heavy lifting. You let them feel like the source while you become the force behind it. When they feel secure, they'll elevate you. But when they feel threatened, they'll protect themselves first, and that often means removing you from the equation. This dynamic doesn't just exist in the workplace, it shows up in relationships too. Think about times when someone constantly corrected you, outperformed you, or made you feel like you were always one step behind. At first, it might have impressed you, but over time, it probably created distance. No one enjoys feeling inferior in a space that's supposed to feel equal. Sometimes maintaining connection isn't about proving you're right or better. It's about making the other person feel respected and valued. That requires awareness and sometimes restraint, not because you're less capable, but because you understand what truly sustains relationships. When it comes to personal growth, this law becomes even more subtle. Sometimes the master isn't a person, it's the system you're operating in, the culture, the unspoken rules, the hierarchy that exists whether you acknowledge it or not. If you ignore these and try to rely purely on talent, you'll face resistance. But if you understand the game, you can move through it more effectively. You can still grow, still achieve, still stand out, but in a way that doesn't trigger unnecessary conflict or resistance from those around you. However, there is a darker side to this idea, and it's important to acknowledge it. If you take this law too far, you risk shrinking yourself. You might start holding back ideas that could create real impact, or allowing less capable people to lead simply to protect their ego. Over time, that doesn't just limit your environment, it limits you. You begin to trade authenticity for strategy, and that can slowly erode your confidence and sense of purpose. So the goal isn't to disappear or suppress your abilities, it's to calibrate them. To understand when to shine fully and when to soften your presence. To recognize who can handle your growth and who cannot. Because here's the truth most people miss: not every environment deserves your restraint. Sometimes the smartest move isn't to dim your light, it's to change the room entirely. To find spaces where your growth is celebrated, not feared, where your success inspires rather than threatens. That's where real expansion happens, not just survival. At its core, this law isn't telling you to play small, it's teaching you to play smart. Success isn't just about what you achieve, it's about how others feel when you achieve it. If you can manage both, your competence and the emotions around it, you don't just rise, you stay there. And that's the difference between temporary success and lasting power. So next time you're about to prove how capable you are, pause for a moment and look around. Ask yourself if you're building influence or unintentionally creating resistance. Because the line between the two is thinner than most people realize, and crossing it without awareness can cost you more than you expect. If this changed the way you see success and power, make sure to like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content like this. And drop a comment below. Have you ever felt held back for doing too well, and what topic should we cover next?